I hope you're all well today. Let me ask you this right up front. How do you feel when you hear the words government shutdown? Do you shrug it off? Or does it make you worry about what might actually stop working in your daily life? Well, we may be heading straight for one, and this time the spotlight is on President Donald Trump and Democratic leaders in Congress. So, let's break down what's going on and why it matters to all of us. Right now, Democrats in Washington, people like Senate Leader Chuck Schumer and House Leader Hakeem Jeffries, are basically saying, Mr. President, we need to talk. They've demanded a face-to-face meeting with Trump as the deadline to keep the government-funded looms closer and closer. And when I say closer, I mean September 30th. That's just days away. If Congress doesn't pass a spending agreement by then, large parts of the federal government could shut down. Now here's where it gets interesting. Democrats aren't just asking for more time or a blank check to keep things running. They're focused on something pretty specific: healthcare. They want to make sure Affordable Care Act subsidies are extended so people don't suddenly see their insurance premiums skyrocket. And they want to protect Medicaid funding, which helps millions of low-income Americans access healthcare. Their message has been clear: no deal if these protections are stripped away. So, what's the other side saying? Republicans, who control both the House and the Senate, have already put forward a temporary funding plan. On the surface, it sounds pretty straightforward. It keeps the government running at current levels while negotiations continue. But here's the catch. Their plan leaves out the healthcare provisions Democrats are fighting for. So we're basically in a stalemate. Let me throw a question out there. Do you think it makes sense to tie big policy debates like healthcare to these short-term funding bills? Or should they be handled separately, so we don't keep ending up at the edge of a shutdown? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Here's why time is such a big problem right now. September 30th is the deadline, and Congress has already been on recess, which eats into the little time they had left. The Senate even rejected one of the Republican stopgap bills, which just ramps up the pressure. Trump himself hasn't exactly calmed the waters either. He's hinted that a shutdown could happen, but added that the government would still cover things like military pay and Social Security. Still, anyone who remembers past shutdowns knows that it's never that simple. Federal workers get furloughed, contractors miss paychecks, national parks and museums close, and regular people end up caught in the middle. So the big question is, will both sides blink before the clock runs out? Democrats are betting that the public doesn't want to see healthcare protections gutted. Republicans are betting that voters just want the government to stay open without piling on new spending. And Trump? He may be calculating which move puts him in the strongest political position. Let's think about the stakes here for a minute. First, healthcare access. If ACA subsidies lapse, millions of families could suddenly be paying a lot more for health insurance. If Medicaid is cut, people who rely on it might lose care altogether. That's not just a budget debate. That's people's lives being affected. Do you think healthcare should be a non-negotiable part of any funding bill, or should it be treated like any other line item in the budget? Second, the politics. Shutdowns are almost always unpopular. They frustrate voters, disrupt services, and make Washington look dysfunctional. The real fight isn't just about policy. It's about who the public blames if things grind to a halt. And third, there's the economic side. Even a short shutdown can ripple through the economy. Federal workers without paychecks, delayed services, uncertainty in markets. It adds up quickly. And maybe the bigger, long-term issue is this. If every budget fight becomes a game of chicken, where one side says, give us what we want or the government shuts down, how sustainable is that? What does it do to people's trust in the system? So, as we count down the days to September 30th, we're left with a pretty clear picture. Democrats want Trump to personally come to the table. Republicans want a clean short-term bill. And Trump is, well, Trump. He hasn't given a clear answer on whether he'll meet with Democrats, but the clock is ticking either way. If there's no breakthrough, we could all wake up to headlines about a government shutdown, with ripple effects across the country. Now I'll toss it to you. What do you think is the right move here? Should Democrats dig in on healthcare protections, even if it risks a shutdown? Or should they compromise to keep the government open? And do you think Trump will actually sit down with them? Or is he going to play hardball to the end? That's where we'll leave it for now, but this story is moving fast and we'll keep following it. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a like. It really helps more people see it. And if you want to stay up to date on big stories like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss the next update. And hey, share this video with a friend who loves talking politics. I guarantee it'll spark a debate. Thanks so much for spending a few minutes with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.